Well, greetings and welcome to another new fall semester. It might be your first if this is your first child slash young adult going off to college. So anyway, my name is Dr. Kimberly Quinn, and I teach at Champlain College in Burlington, Vermont, which is a great spot, let me tell you, with a gorgeous campus. But here's the thing. They just recently, well, yesterday, or no, 2 days ago, asked me to do something internally for our parents, helping with the transitions and that big leap to college. And I did that, and it came out really well, I think. And then I thought to myself, why don't I do this for everybody? Because I know that, for all families who have a child slash young adult going off and making that big, that transition into that wonderfully exciting, new life stage. What a big leap it is. And so that's what I'm doing. And then I thought, I talked with my husband and I said, I have a doctorate in cognitive psychology. Okay. I do things with our well-being and success team. Okay. I teach a course called Mindcraft, which will be more on that towards the end, which is also just a blast. And all of that, it's like yada, yada, yada. And who cares when it comes to, not who cares, but I guess what I want to say is that I think my biggest cred in this particular circumstance is that my husband and I have 5 fabulous young adult children, and we call them the Fab Five, and all 5 have thankfully graduated college with the baby just last year. And so I get you is the point. So when I was doing this other thing, which again came out really well, I think, I thought, wow, just the going through all of that. And the youngest also went through, she just graduated from St. Lawrence University in New York just last year. And now she's gainfully employed and moved to Denver. So that's like a whole nother conversation, because now we're in Vermont and my baby's far away. So like I really get you. It's a lot of change all at once. And she went through I think her first year was sort of okay, and then I think it was sophomore, junior, part of senior year, where things got swept up in the throes of the pandemic. So those of you who also had kids in high school, that was all just hard and challenging. So here we go. So I'm just going to put out what our own experiences are, and also my expertise with mindset, things like that, and to try to maybe give you some helpful tips for all of it, because it's really an exciting time, and also it can be a little anxiety provoking. Why? Because, of course, fear stems from the unknown, and even though this is wonderfully exciting, and you're probably, if it's your first one, they've probably got their new backpack all set, their new clothes, and they're all pumped. If it's your youngest, that's a whole nother change. We'll get to that in a second. But it's anxiety, or can be anxiety provoking, because you just don't know what to expect. And there are some fears, even though this is a great time. There's also, I've talked with my students about this, because they say it actually, there's also pressure. I've been told this is the best 4 years of my life, or maybe more. That's the first correction I make. It doesn't have to be 4 years. There's just lots of that. So let's talk about it. Okay, so we know for a fact that fear stems from the unknown. So let's ask you, or you ask yourself, what is it that I'm afraid of? Or if it's you and your partner, if you have a partner, what am I afraid of? What are we afraid of? And so you might be thinking, okay, I love my kid who's now a young adult, which maybe I'm not ready to face that yet. And if they're traditional age and they're 18, are they really adult? You can actually ask yourself that too. Because I don't know that 18, you can vote, you can buy cigarettes, hopefully not, but does that make you an adult? I don't know. So they kind of have 1 foot in adulthood, 1 foot in childhood, which also can add to it a little bit, okay? So you might be asking yourself the number one, which is, will they be happy? Is this college a good fit? Is this major a good fit? And will they be successful? Define that for yourself. What does that mean? Does that mean, happy, well-adjusted, and that means making friends, getting out of the dorm room and doing stuff? Maybe they're shyer and more introverted, and those are not the same thing, right? Introverted is a wiring that's like having brown eyes. You're born like that. Shy is a fear of social rejection, which is different. People get those confused. And so they might have some wiring differences. They might be neurodivergent. I myself am neurodivergent. I'm a proud member of the Fast Mind Club, which is also known as ADHD, though I don't like to call it that because it's negative and stupid. So anyway, talk about that in another video. Classes, will they, maybe the bar said it, will they pass? Will they just do it? Some parents may have their sights set on, will they crush it? Will they be that super achiever they were in high school? Even with all these, changes and all these exciting distractions going on. Will they will they like their major? Will it be a good fit? Will they find an internship? You may already have them, will they graduate and they just got there? Who knows? So there's all these what if stuff. And what ifs, all what if type question is anxiety. When we say what if, and those are the first words of the sentence, that's anxiety. Anxiety is a brain thing, right? It happens in the limbic system of the brain, and it's also self-reinforcing. So each and every time that we allow, and the word is allow our brains to go to that what if spot, or we're the catastrophizers and we're doing like the worst case scenario thing. Whenever we actually find what it is we're looking for, it's then reinforced. It's like giving a dog a cookie, or really more like a prime rib, because anxiety is really, really strong when we feed it, like Miracle Grow. It just gets stronger, stronger, stronger. We'll get more to that later. We're just talking about, methodically speaking, this is what's happening, and then we're going to go, okay. So now we might have fear of shift in family dynamics, which will happen. And as they say, I'm a big fan of the 12-step programs, whether anybody's got addiction going on or not. They've got a lot of wisdom. So acceptance is the key to most problems. That is such a good one-liner, because, and also John Kabat-Zinn, actually, one of my favorite definitions of stress, talks about this as stress is wanting the present moment to be something other than it is. Think about that for a second. When we feel stressed out, which is really anxiety now, because stress is external stressors like bills, kids going to college, things like that. Our response to those stressors is the anxiety. So really, when we say, "Oh, I'm so stressed out," you really say, "I'm so anxietied out." Also, my apologies for the beep. They're doing some work over there, and it goes on all day, so we just kind of have to deal with that. Okay, so anxietied out. So really have to really kind of get our, sort of accept, okay, this is an exciting life stage. There will be family dynamic changes. And here's the thing, if it's your oldest, that's huge, because there'll be a gaping hole in there. It'll feel like there's a gaping hole in the house. And it doesn't mean that you're focused on, oh, it's all lost, and oh no, and he's gone, she's gone, they're gone. You're excited too. It's like bittersweet, right? And so it's different. If it's your youngest, because again, we have 5 kids. The youngest, then it's your immediate empty nesters. And then there's the middle, and I'll tell you, because we had 5, it didn't get less weird each time, because the dynamics shift uniquely each time. And it's wonderful and it's hard, and that's how it is. So if you have a partner, just talk and share and go out to dinner and go on hikes and walks and watch a movie and snuggle and chat about all of it. If you do not have a partner, then you embrace your special person, best friend or sibling or your own parents or whatever. Talk about it. Talk to share is to care, to feel is to heal. Like just say it all. And really just get in that place of giving yourself some space and embrace the simple pleasures. That's another big tip right there. Okay, so there's all the what ifs. So here's the thing, my biggest suggestion, I'm not a big advice giver, is to overall in general trust yourself as a parent that you gave your child, now young adult, everything you had to give. And it doesn't mean perfect. It's a very good idea to stay away from that word. In fact, in my classes, I strongly dissuade it. I won't say don't allow, because they're young adults, but I strongly discourage it, because perfectionism is self-abuse of the highest order. That's not coming from me. I believe it was Ann Schaaf who said that. It's just not a good word. With my own children, I didn't allow it in the house. That I can do. And they used to say things like, they would self-correct and say, "Mama, I mean 99% excellent. My school day went 99% excellent." And that's good to say, because you're better off dropping the F-bomb than using the word perfect, because nobody can live up to that. They just can't. So we're going to get to that in just a few moments. So you want to trust yourselves as parents that you did the best you could. And they're fine. They're fine. Okay, so here's the thing. I have 4 little nuggets. It's kind of an overused word out in the influencer world, but call it something else. 4 tips, mindset strategies, whatever. So when your young adult makes mistakes, and they will be okay. And so I guess I would inject a little suggestion in here, because I see it with my young adults. The only way for them to fully learn to embrace who they are, be who they are. They have to be who they are before they can embrace who they are, right? And this, I even tell them, this is the biggest growth spurt they will have in their entire lives, if they're in that traditional age range of like 17 or 18 to 22, 23-ish, right? This is the biggest. Each life stage has something to bring, something to offer, to grow from, blah, 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 blah. This is the biggie. as far as self-awareness. They're coming into their who they are, they're coming into their sexuality, they might be coming into their gender identification, they might be coming into what they think politically, they might be challenging religious views that they were brought up with from the ground up. They're coming into all of it and taking a stand on things and getting excited and really becoming who they are. So know that this is a big growth spurt, and it's very good to have a conversation with them about it. So my suggestion would be a little bit on an anti-hover campaign. I'm not saying that's easy, and some young adults also they're neurodivergent, like myself. We've also got a couple neurodivergents out of the 5. My youngest is in the Fast Mind Club too. I have another one who works with her anxiety at times, and it seemed to really reach a peak in college, and this is because that's what happens. This is the age for it, between 18 and 25, and you may know this, you may not. I'll just throw it out there. Regardless of the parts anybody's born with, okay, male parts or female parts, the prefrontal cortex knows no bounds with that. It is not fully developed until the age of 25 for either sex. That's just the fact, Jack. So I explain to them too, and I say, I'm not being condescending. I would never speak to anyone, never mind my rock star students in that way. I just explain to them that from a cognitive, psychological, neuropsychological standpoint, they're development in progress. I mean, we all are, but there's from 18 to 25, from a brain standpoint, they're still in adolescence. So obviously, 13 is not nearly as far along as 21 or 24, though it takes all the way till 25 till they're really kind of able to see around corners, consequence-wise. And then I usually make a little joke that you can't say, "Gee, Mom or Dad, I messed up and hit that snowbank with the car when I saw this," or whatever, because my prefrontal cortex wasn't fully developed. I mean, I don't give them that license, though, just so that maybe say it to them, that they're still in that. They're still developing. They still care what people think a lot. That it's called the silent audience. And so from 13 to 25, that gets a little bit less. And of course, there are people in their 40s, 50s, and 80s who still care what people think. Though developmentally speaking, from 13 to 25, that's peak level for that. And caring what they're wearing, what they're saying, and who thought this and who thought that, and did they like me. Even when they're 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, it just gets less, but it's still there. Okay, tangent done. Okay, so they will make mistakes and they will be okay. So I would suggest, because the only way out is through, that's another 12-step thing. Sentence. Not that I usually speak in bumper sticker, I don't, but this is all really good stuff. I grew up with addiction in my household, so that's, I got sort of dragged along to some AA meetings way back in the day for a recovering family member. I remember thinking how cool it was then, so go figure. But anyway, the only way out is through, and acceptance is a key to most problems. So here's the thing, is that when we hover, and I'm not saying that that's not our urge and it's well-meaning and all that stuff, the only way they're going to learn how to do is to do. They're going to learn how to be themselves by being themselves. They're going to learn how to do an internship by doing the internship. They're going to learn how to navigate classes by navigating classes. Now where we can encourage as well-meaning, loving, kind parents is to encourage them to reach out for help when they need it to their professors. We are really good people. At least the colleagues I work with, and most of us are parents, some grandparents even, and we're really, really, really good people, and we're very approachable. I can speak for most of us. I don't know anybody who isn't, actually, where I am. But to encourage a young adult to really take that step. They want to bring somebody with them, have them bring their roommate. Who cares? We don't care. Anyway, so encourage that. But really kind of, maybe my suggestion would be to arrange some contact times and stuff. But when students tell me, "Oh, my mom every day," I mean, that isn't, again, there's different needs, different wirings. In general, it's kind of like we have to fall and skin our knees to know how to get back up. That's what I'm saying. So take that as you'd like. And okay, so they will make mistakes. They will be okay. Failure does not exist. This is a fantastic perspective. Somebody I listen to, and I've got my own friend circle. Oprah is one of my very best friends. She just isn't aware. I'm also a big Wayne Dyer fan. He sadly passed too soon. He's in my friend circle. If you don't listen to him, now's a good time to start. Dr. Wayne Dyer. He talks about the perspective of failure. And the reason I'm bringing this up as my number 2 mindset strategy is because I hear so much from my Minecraft students that they just sort of, they really want to please parents, and they really don't want to quote unquote fail. They talk so much about it. And parents, I know from, again, my 5, that you just want them to be happy. You want them to have friends and interact and do okay in classes and advance to the next year and all that sort of thing. So we change our perspective on that. So here's what Wayne Dyer says. Wayne Dyer says failure doesn't really exist, and here's why. We are all human beings moving around, creating results. Like we do this, and maybe they tried a beer behind the garage, got caught by dad, maybe didn't work out so well. As seasoned adults, we're moving around producing results too. And maybe we said something at work, or we did a presentation, didn't work out too well, whatever it is. And maybe it's something really positive. Wow, we crushed that presentation, or made a new connection at work that has us doing a side hustle that we love more than anything. We wake up thinking about it, going to bed thinking about whatever we're doing produces results, and that's it. We don't need to label it as this polarization, and polarizations in life don't really exist anyway, right? So we have failure, success. There's the whole middle. There's the whole middle. Just like sexuality, you're gay, straight, there's a whole middle. You are a good skier, you're a beginner skier, you're an expert skier, there's a whole middle. Life has got a whole spectrum, and failure and success isn't different. So if we change our perspective on that, that's a huge help. Okay, so they will make mistakes, it will be okay. Failure does not exist. The third one is to understand the concept of the good enough mother. Now that came from, I'm going to switch it in a sec, Donald Winnicott back in the 50s. So I have to label it how his theory is. And then we will shift it into the good enough parent, obviously, in the current times. But what he had to say was really relevant. And so it was about the good enough parent, where we're going to go with today's contemporary wording and framing, is that basically a child will become a happy, well-adjusted, successful young adult. And he had all kinds of operational definitions for that. But basically they're all set. They're good. They're happy. They can do the world. They're productive. They're contributing to the world as we know it, and they're doing fine when they have at least one. So single parents out there, because this may be running through your mind as fears. He said at least one. If you have 2, it's a bonus. And that one of those might be a grandparent. No one said it had to be biological either, because chosen families are just as important as families of origin. So as long as they love you, you love them, and they're your rock solid person who shaped you and helped you grow and become who you are, that's what we're talking about. So if you have at least one of those, your young adult is going to be fine. And it means that you were there most of the time. It doesn't mean you got home from work. Maybe you're working 2 jobs back in the day when they were little, and you didn't get there as quickly, but you did. Maybe you missed a little league game, and it's all fine. You got there most of the time. You're emotionally available most of the time, and they're okay. So the good enough parent, you did it. They're okay, you're okay, and they're off to have a great time. Okay, fourth one. This is, if you've ever read Don Miguel Ruiz's 4 Agreements, it's fantastic. This is one of the 4 agreements, is set the bar to your best. I mean, every day in every way. I think Melissa Etheridge has a song about that too. Anyway, set the bar to your best in every way. This is all anyone can ask or do ever. And so know that you've done your best as a parent. They're going to do their best as your young adult in college or college student. Try to say that, get used to it. Your other younger kids or older kids or whatever, they're doing the best they can. We're all doing the best we can. And so it goes back to the Wayne Dyer thing with failure doesn't exist, is we're doing the best when we do produce results, however they happen, to change our attitude, figure out whatever the new direction is based on those, and that's it. We're doing the best we can. And that bar can be adjusted. Isn't that great? It's super great. Okay, so, and then lastly, mindset-wise, I'm a big gratitude person, and to shift yourself, and it doesn't mean be that Pollyanna, it doesn't mean to not feel. Of course, to feel is to heal. And if you're sad that they're leaving, acknowledge that. You just don't want to reside there forever. Share it with a partner, friend, sibling, like we talked about, and then shift out of that. Like, wow, we're able to do this, even if it took every piece of financial aid out there, even if it took, getting somebody to go with you to drive because your car doesn't work well, or took a bus, or who cares? They're there. They're going. They're in college now. You can say, my college student, blah, 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 blah. Yes. And you've done a whole lot, as well as their siblings and aunts, uncles, grandparents, chosen family also, whoever, to get them there. And just be so happy and excited. So acknowledge the sad, the fear, the anxiety, blah, 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 and then shift into, wow, I have a kid going to college. That's freaking awesome. And it's going to be exciting. They're going to hit speed bumps. We talked about it. And in the end, they're going to look back, and it will have been probably a very, very good, possibly great experience total, right? And so this is where I do the dots always connect thing. The dots always connect. We look back, I'm a fabulous 58. When we look back, the dots connected. Even if there was an excruciating breakup, I'm talking about us now. And like, you might not be with your partner if that didn't end, or somebody got laid off or fired or moved, or the company went under or whatever. And now you're doing this fantastic, you started a business, or you're doing something different. You had to move someplace different, and the community is great. You never would have known if you weren't forced into it, whatever. When we look back, the dots connect. So trust that the dots will continue to connect for you and for them. When they look back, right now they're in this present moment, hopefully. When they look back at graduation and after that, and I will be there, they'll look back and say, wow, the dots did always connect. Maybe my roommate wasn't the greatest, but I found another one, and now they're my best friend in the world. I mean, so the dots will connect. So just trust that. The other one I would also say is to know for yourself and then model for them, because they're watching you. How you handle this is largely how they're going to handle it. So positivity, again, I'm not saying to ignore your feelings, definitely not. Bring them in and then shift into this. So the best you can to take this in, and again, role model for that, your young adult, that life happens for us, not to us. So when you hear, how did this happen to me? How did I get this roommate who's such a neat freak and I'm a slob, or the reverse? How did this happen to me? Instead of how did this happen to me, life happened to me. Oh, poor me, life happened to me. Or in seasoned adult world, how did this happen to me? In fact, I can't show you my crutches right now because I'm very active and had an elective foot procedure so that I can continue to be active. And it's challenging. You know what, though? It's happening for me, not to me. I'll be better off in a few weeks. So to look at that as best you can, life happens for us, not to us. We don't grow unless there's contrast. So that maybe there's a roommate who didn't work out. That contrast presented to that student, or that major that didn't work out, maybe they'll crush the game industry world because they got out of, whatever. Or they'll crush being a third grade teacher because they got out of IT, or who knows. But it happens for us, not to us. Contrast is how we grow. If it was all easy breezy all the time, we wouldn't grow at all. And that can be a tough sell when we're in it. I'm not saying that. But again, it's that dots thing. The dots connected, they always connect, and they will continue to connect. Awesome. Okay, so the last thing here, and I will put the website down below. You can see it on my shirt. Minecraft University, that's a course I've taught in person for college students for a very long time. I've taught for almost 14 years, and I've taught that class for I think 6 or 7. It's great. And it's about teaching students how to live their best life. And though it's targeted and geared towards students entering college, also overwhelmed college students and then college seniors, also young adult professionals, definitely targeted towards the younger adult audience, but it can be anybody, because it's about teaching how to calm your mind down on demand. There are some real for real, tried and true, based in neuroscience for real. Like, it drives me nuts when people say that they're influencers and they don't follow through. My doctorate's in cognitive psychology, so it's real. So there's some tips and tricks on how to reduce anxiety, which will actually work for anybody, also including parents of college students. And then there's all kinds of things in there. There's 6 modules. One's about optimism as a lifestyle, the advantages of happiness. I also do a whole thing about understanding the cognitive triangle of triangle of cognitive distortion that explains kind of how depressive thinking can start to happen. So it's got a lot there, but check out the website down there, and there's a whole big free part that's worth it all on its own, honestly. So that's it. And you can also, my email's in there. You can email me with any questions you have. I'm also happy to chat with you if you have a question about one of your young adults in college, and that's it. So, all right. I hope your family enjoys this wonderful, exciting big leap to college.